You know, obviously we just finished two-a-days and, start game prep next week. Kind of fill us in on where you're at offensively.
Well, we're, right now offensively, we've got our entire package in. We've been able to expand it and go places we haven't ever gone before. And that's been a good thing because, we've been able to do it because of experience, obviously, at quarterback and then the receiving core. And we need to do it because of all the different people that we want to target in our offense. So, we've been very multiple and we've been able to do a lot. And the guys have had a great camp. I'm really pleased with where we're at right now.
Do you have any concerns right now, 2 weeks before the opener?
No, we need to put polish on our work. We want to make our we want to play clean football and want to make our work look like the drawings. And we're not consistent enough at that yet. So, but it's coming along. I mean, it really is. Our twos are starting to really get it. When the twos start getting it, the ones obviously have been fairly consistent. The twos now are becoming more consistent, and we want both units to be up to speed. So we still have work to do as far as putting polish on, but overall, really happy with the progress thus far. We still got a lot of things to get, little details to get polished up with our younger guys.
How's the offensive line progressed?
They've done well. I think we've been able to work several different combinations, and we've at this point right now we feel like we have those guys all targeted who we're going to play with, and I think our first group of guys have done a really nice job. We've had a real battle at right tackle between Nacho and between Ryan Mack, so that's been a good healthy battle, and we've had a kid like Chris Acosta really started having a really good spring for us. He's really come on, and he's been a very solid player for us, and so much so that we feel like we have to play him now. He's well signed and he's playing his best football. So him coming around with Cam, I mean it's been a good mix. The younger players we're currently working with, like TC Klusman, we're trying to get those guys up to speed, and they're coming along, progressing. That's where we still need most of our work done, with their twos in the offensive line. But overall, really pleased with how far they've been able to come. Just got a ways yet to go.
How long do you anticipate a guy like Cameron Joyer out of the lineup? Do you have any idea at this point how long you're going to be without him?
Not really. It's going to be a really week-to-week thing. He's a fast healer. We thought we were going to lose him for the entire season last year, and he was back for the bowl game. Couldn't tell he was hurt. And he's moving around pretty well right now. He tells me, again, this Cameron telling me he's going to be ready the first week. So we'll see. It's kind of it is day to day right now. Where his progress goes and where he'll be at next week by Tuesday, Wednesday.
Where are your receivers now in terms of depth? I mean, you have a lot of candidates, but is it falling into place?
Yeah, it has. It's really clear to us. Devontae Parker he's unbelievable. He's obviously starting next. Behind him, Kai Dominguez has had a great camp. He really has. I mean, Kai has come through, and he's right now is battling Matt Milton for the backup job at X. But it's kind of even with Kai. Probably over the last 3 days, I can say has made more plays. So he's probably got a little slight edge speaking to you right now. But they're in a real tight battle. The Z position, Damian is back out and playing right now. It's doing it's really nice having him out because he gives us a lot of speed on the edge. Robert Clark has had a really good camp. He's played I think every position on the field. We've cross-trained him. Same thing can be said for Eli Rogers. He's been cross-trained, and those two guys have played inside and outside lanes and have done a really nice job. So. We feel like we have, two really solid candidates can not only play inside but outside, and then we put Michael Lee in the mix, and Michael Lee has made some real nice progress. He's gaining confidence and his rehab, and he's had really this is the third solid day of practice, so really pleased with where he's at. So, it's a great problem for us because we got a lot of guys that we have to work in and target.
How much are you expecting out of a guy like James Quick?
James, I didn't mention him. I should have. James is, he has started out really fast and learning things. It's kind of typical. He and it could be said really for all the freshmen, first-time guys. They hit a little bit of a lull here. We start getting ready to get in a game plan mode. But you can't mistake what he does well. So what we're going to do is we'll limit what all we ask him to do. We won't ask him to do all the things we do with Damian, but we're going to get him on the field because he's so fast and he's got so much ability. And then we'll bring him along, and he'll play a lot of football for us this year.
What about Eli? I mean, what kind of things do you feel like he has to do to follow up last year?
Well, I think he's, the biggest thing for Eli, and it's real well documented between me and him. He's just got to be consistent in his assignments. He's got to, he can make a great, game-stopping catch where everybody just catches their breath because it's so spectacular, and then turn around and have a missed assignment. So his consistency of play is what we've been harping on him about. To his credit, he has done that. He's had his best football camp, the best period of football here in training camp. So he has done it. And he's put it out there, put it on film that he's serious about the challenge that we put in front of him.
Damian being the senior of that group, kind of from the leadership role, what has he been able to provide?
He's just a real steady guy. He never gets too high or too low. He always comes out here with a work ethic. He really sets the tone and the pace for practice with that group. He and Devontae both. Devontae's not missed one rep. I mean, he's unbelievable. The work ethic and the stamina that kid has. And when those two guys, they lead by example. And Damian's the type of kid that has really been instrumental in bringing along James. I think James is, caught on so fast because of the work that Damian put into him this summer. So, it's been, I think with those, with those two kids, Devontae and Damian, we have great senior leadership because they've been there, they've done it. They've all had a transition into it. Damian had to fight his way as an underclassman to what he did last year. So his story is well documented around here, what he did to become the player he's become, and he's a great example.
How have you been able to really balance all of these weapons over the years? I mean, you've got two deep guys, you've got Eli, you've got tight ends that can contribute. I mean, how do you really divvy that up in your mind?
I look at how we're targeting our passing game and where we're, what we're doing. The good thing is, because we have so many targets, and I don't want to be a team that's just going to throw to one or two guys. I think that's easy to take out, easy to defend. You look at all the things that have been a part of in the past, we've had evenly distributed targets across the board. And that is so that the playmakers like Devontae really took advantage of that last year. I mean, his receptions alone, like he averaged, I think it was like 18 a catch. And that's because, when we target him, we're targeting him on big plays where he can really hurt you. So that happens because you got to defend everybody else. You got to defend all those. If you got five other cats on the field, you got five guys on the field. Those four other cats, you got to defend them. You can't just defend one guy. And the way our passing game is designed, we can target, move around, and adjust people to put them in that pattern. So, the method of the madness is make sure that we create touches. And what I do when I game plan those touches for those players, and then what I try to do is I always try to look at how we open the game and who's getting the ball distributed to them, because we want those big play players to get touches.
Sean, can you talk a little bit about Michael Dyer and his kind of where he's at, getting his feet wet as far as learning the offense?
He's coming along. He's coming along really well. He's I think probably the number one thing you notice about him is his talent. I mean, he's such a natural runner. He's a very explosive. He's his ability to put his foot in the dirt and make a one cut that then becomes an explosive play is really breathtaking sometimes. What he can do. He's still learning what we're doing. He's still learning a lot about our whole system. But every day there's improvement and more comfort. I would say not so much improvement from I think from a feel standpoint. He's comfortable in what we're doing and what he's doing in what we're doing. So he's been a nice. You would expect it because his maturity. He understands that he has to work hard. So it's been a nice transition. Actually, I mean, there hasn't been any speed bumps. He's just continually kept working, and he's finding his way to a pretty neat place.
It's a battle between them guys, almost like it was last year.
Yeah, it's real tight. I mean, it's you can go. You put any one of the three of them in there, and then we have the other two guys. With Corbin Lamb's had a really good camp too. I mean, Corbin sometimes goes underneath the radar screen just because you have those three guys with that size and speed. And Corbin's a little bit smaller, but he's the fastest of all of them, and he's competed right alongside the other two. So it's been a really competitive camp at that position, for time on the field. And as we move through it this week, we're developing our plan for how we're going to play those guys.
How has Sonoris Perry's knee responded to the grueling sessions of camp?
He's been good. Our trainers have taken a approach with him where they've given him on 2 days. He had one practice on, took the other one off. So we've been smart at how we've managed him. He himself, he wanted to go right out of the chutes. I wanted to try to protect him because of what he does for us. And he assured me on day one he was ready. And so we let him go, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because he was making the same cuts he made with the same explosiveness that he made, during the season last year. And in the scrimmage, he had a really good day, and it didn't look like he had ever been hurt at all.
Right side of that offensive line, how is that coming along?
It's going good. We were talking about a little bit earlier. They, Ryan Mack and Nacho. Abraham Garcia have been in a real tight battle, and they've made each other better. I can just see how much better on film Ryan has become because of competing. And you can tell both those kids want on the field, so both of them get on the field. Nacho has gotten better because of the competition. With Cam, going down here and being out of some practices, that's made Chris Acosta better. Chris is probably in that position the biggest surprise of camp at that position, and one of the biggest surprises really in our whole team. It started transitioning during spring ball and really showed itself here during training camp. He's playing with a lot of confidence and just a totally different fundamental technical player, and his motor's running pretty hot. You can tell he wants to be on the field, so he's earned his time. We're going to play him.
Coach, I'm sorry if you might have answered this already, but what was kind of the overall reaction from the staff and maybe some of the players when you saw from this point on, or at least for next year, Kentucky will be the last game of the year?
I tell you what, that's the first, that's really, we were so involved in camp, first time I've heard that. So, because we, really honestly, we lock in on football here. We just outside world, I can't tell you what happened.
So what do you think it'll be like, though, to play Kentucky the last
game? I've been a part of some really cool rivalries that way. When I was at Nebraska, or Colorado and Nebraska, that was the game. And that's those kind of rivalry games are awesome that last weekend. So I think it'll be, usually they fall around Thanksgiving or, holiday seasons, and, it just makes for just an awesome atmosphere. So I can see that being a really neat thing for both schools.
Sean, you've talked a lot about the tight end position and the depth there. What about the fullback, and where are you with some of those guys right now?
Griffin Ewell, we'll see how the story unfolds. But Griffin Ewell could be, he could be the surprise of the whole season. He's really done well. He's a 260, 65-pound fullback. And he, we didn't know exactly where to play him. He didn't play, high school football. He actually played club football. I just don't quite understand what that is. But, he's told me about it, and I still don't get it. But so he came here with not a whole lot of football background, and just a willing soul, who's very physical. When he blocks you, he finishes you. And he's been a very pleasant surprise at that position. Taylor Sharp has. Had a good spring for us. He's been a little nicked up with the neck injury. We haven't quite got to see all of him. He's been in and out of practice. We got to get him, calm down his neck injury, and then we'll, I think he showed in the spring. I would imagine he'll show again here.
When did you move? Was he?
We did it during the summer.
Okay. Not spring though. He did not play.
No, we did not play him in spring. I always want to get. I love league football, and I want to be. We want to have. Pull that dinosaur out of extinction. Very few people know that. Kids grow up today not knowing that there really was a fullback and fullback. So we pulled that guy off the shelf. And he was a candidate that we looked at when we looked at our board. We wanted to answer that issue inside our team. And, we have the tight ends that can fill that role, but we also wanted to have that personnel group and that type of player that could do, that plumber's work and ball. And, he's really fit the bill well.
You might have answered this also, sorry if you did. But Kenny said the other day it's going to be kind of co-running back starters.
It will be.
You've got a lot of options. Is it the thing going to be tricky on how you use them? Or?
Well, it is and it isn't. You gotta, what you got to do is you got to develop, a rotation where you give the kids an opportunity to catch.